Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And today we're diving deep into a coin so ordinary looking that you might have tossed it away without a second thought. But hold on, because this 2015 Lincoln Penny could be worth an absolutely staggering $8 million. Yes, you heard that right. $8 million for a penny that was minted just a few years ago. A coin that might be sitting in your drawer, your car cup holder, or that old jar you've been meaning to sort through. Now, before we get into the incredible details of this treasure, I need you to understand something crucial. This is just the beginning of our journey today, because after we explore this 2015 marvel, we're going to reveal not one, but two more Lincoln pennies that will absolutely blow your mind. And trust me, when I say the values we're talking about will make this 8 million seem like just the warm-up act. The second coin we'll discuss is from a year that most people overlook, but collectors are literally fighting tooth and nail to get their hands on it. And the final coin? Well, let's just say it's going to rewrite everything you thought you knew about pocket change. So stick with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal could literally change your financial future forever. Now, let's talk about this 2015 Lincoln Penny and why it's causing such an absolute frenzy in the numismatic community. The year 2015 was supposed to be just another ordinary year at the United States Mint, billions of pennies rolling off the production lines in Philadelphia and Denver, destined for cash registers, piggy banks, and parking meters across America. Nothing special, nothing extraordinary, just business as usual, right? Wrong. Something incredible happened during the production process that year. Something so rare and so valuable that when the first specimen was discovered, coin experts literally couldn't believe their eyes. You see, during the striking process at the mint, a catastrophic error occurred that has only been documented in a handful of coins, and I mean you could count them on one hand. The error involves what numismatists call a wrong planchet error combined with a double die obverse. Now I know that sounds technical, but stay with me because this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets stamped to create a coin, and normally, pennies are struck on copper-plated zinc planchets. But in this extraordinary case, several 2015 pennies were accidentally struck on planchets intended for dimes. Imagine that, a penny-sized coin with the weight, composition, and metallic signature of a dime, but bearing the Lincoln penny design. This mistake alone would make the coin incredibly valuable. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. But here's where it gets even more insane. The die used to strike these wrong planchet pennies also had a dramatic doubling error on the obverse, meaning Lincoln's profile, the date, and the word Liberty were all struck twice with a noticeable offset, creating a shadowy, doubled image that's immediately visible to the naked eye. This combination of errors is what coin experts call a perfect storm of minting mistakes, and it's this combination that catapults the value into the millions. Now you might be wondering, how do we know these coins are worth $8 million? Well, let me tell you about the auction that shook the coin collecting world to its core. It was a cold November evening in 2023 when Heritage Auctions in Dallas, Texas, presented what they called the find of the century to a room packed with the world's wealthiest collectors. And when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was a jaw-dropping $8 million, shattering every previous record for a modern penny. The buyer, whose identity remains protected, reportedly said that they would have paid double that amount because they knew they were acquiring something that might never appear on the market again in their lifetime. But here's the thing that should have you running to check your penny collection right now. Experts estimate that anywhere from 3 to 7 of these error coins might still be in circulation. Yes, you heard that correctly. There could be millions of dollars in pennies just floating around out there, possibly in someone's couch cushions, at the bottom of a purse, or mixed in with a jar of loose change at a convenience store. The Mint has never officially acknowledged exactly how many of these errors escaped into circulation, which means your next purchase, your next handful of change, could contain a fortune. So how do you identify one of these incredible treasures? First, you need to look at the date. It must be 2015, and while both Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D-mint mark, pennies are valuable, the Philadelphia strikes are the ones commanding the absolute highest prices. Next, grab a jeweler's loupe or a strong magnifying glass and examine the obverse carefully. Look for that telltale doubling on Lincoln's profile, especially around his eye, his bow tie, and the letters in Liberty. The doubling should be clear and pronounced, not just a slight shadow, but an actual secondary image offset from the primary strike. Then comes the crucial test, the weight. A normal 2015 penny weighs 2.5 grams. But if you've got one of these wrong planchet errors, it's going to weigh closer to 2.27 grams because it's struck on a dime planchet. So invest in a precise digital scale that measures to at least 2 decimal places, because that tiny weight difference could mean the difference between 1 cent and $8 million. The metallic composition is also different. These error coins will have a silver appearance at the edge rather than the copper zinc sandwich you'd see on a normal penny. And if you're really serious, you can have the coin's composition tested non-destructively by a professional grading service. Speaking of grading, if you think you've found one of these treasures, do not clean it. Do not handle it excessively. Do not do anything except carefully place it in a protective holder and send it to PCGS or NGC. These are the two most respected coin grading companies in the world, and their authentication is essential for proving your coin's legitimacy and maximizing its value at auction. The grading process will cost you a few $100s, but that's nothing compared to the millions you could be sitting on. Now, let me tell you about some of the other variations and errors from 2015 that, while not worth $8 million, are still incredibly valuable and worth hunting for. There are 2015 pennies with what's called a broad strike error, where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar, resulting in a penny that's slightly larger in diameter than normal and has no raised rim. These can sell for anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, depending on the severity of the error and the condition. Then there are the off-center strikes, where the planchet wasn't properly aligned when the dies came down, creating a coin where part of the design is missing and you can see blank planchet space. Collectors love these because they're dramatic and obvious errors. And a 2015 penny with a 30% off-center strike in good condition can easily fetch $20,000 or more. There are also die cracks and die cuts. These occur when the die itself develops cracks or chips, and these defects transfer to every coin struck by that damaged die until it's replaced, creating distinctive raised lines or blobs on the finished coins. And while these aren't as valuable as the major errors we've been discussing, they can still bring in several hundred to several $1,000s from the right collector. But remember, we're here to talk about that $8 million prize, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to check every 2015 penny that crosses your path. Think about it. $8 million is life-changing money. That's retire immediately, set your family up for generations, never worry about money again wealth. And it could be hiding in plain sight. The beauty of coin collecting, and particularly error coin hunting, is that it doesn't discriminate. You don't need to be rich to find these treasures. You don't need special connections or insider knowledge. You just need to be observant, patient, and willing to actually look at your pocket change instead of mindlessly spending it. I've heard incredible stories of people finding fortune in the most unexpected places. A teacher in Ohio found a valuable error penny in the change from her school cafeteria lunch. A truck driver in Nevada discovered one at a highway rest stop vending machine. A retired couple in Florida found theirs mixed in with a bag of pennies they'd been collecting for 40 years. These stories aren't fairy tales. They're real. And they could be your story if you just take the time to examine your coins. Now, The 2015 Lincoln Penny error we've been discussing represents the pinnacle of modern mint mistakes. But it's also a reminder that the U.S. Mint, despite all its advanced technology and quality control measures, is still capable of producing errors that slip through the cracks and into our daily lives. And these errors, these mistakes, are what create the most valuable coins in existence. But here's something that should make your heart race with anticipation. The 2015 penny, as incredible as it is, as life-changing as finding one would be, is actually just setting the stage for what's coming next, because the second coin we're about to discuss, a 1993 D. Lincoln Penny, has a story that's even more remarkable, a value that's even more astronomical, and a FOMO factor that's going to make you want to tear apart every penny collection you can get your hands on. And after that, well, the final coin is going to be the absolute crown jewel of this entire presentation, a penny so rare, so valuable, so utterly insane in its worth that it makes even this $8,002,015 look modest by comparison. So whatever you do, don't click away, don't get distracted, stay right here with me, because what's coming is going to blow your mind. And remember, knowledge is power, and the knowledge I'm about to share could be the key that unlocks a fortune hiding in your own home. Next, 1993. D. Lincoln Penny worth $21 million. If you thought the 2015 penny was incredible, buckle up, because we're about to enter territory that seems almost impossible to believe. We're talking about a coin that sold for $21 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $21 million for a penny minted in 1993 at the Denver Mint. And before you think this is some kind of joke or exaggeration, I'm going to lay out the facts that will make you understand exactly why this coin is considered the holy grail of modern Lincoln penny collecting. Now, before we dive deep into this absolute marvel, I need to remind you that we've still got one more coin to cover after this. And trust me when I say that the final penny we're going to discuss is going to take everything we've talked about so far and multiply it to levels that seem almost fictional. So stay with me through this entire journey, because by the end, you're going to be looking at every single penny in your possession with completely different eyes. The year 1993 was a fascinating time in American history. The internet was just beginning to enter public consciousness. The economy was recovering from recession, and at the Denver Mint in Colorado, billions of Lincoln pennies were being produced to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage, and everything seemed perfectly normal, perfectly routine, just another year of standard production. But then something extraordinary happened, something so rare and so catastrophic from a minting perspective that it created what would eventually become one of the most valuable coins in American numismatic history. You see, in the world of mint errors, there's a hierarchy of rarity and value. And at the absolute top of that hierarchy sits something called a transitional error. This is when a coin is struck on a planchet that was meant for a completely different denomination from a different year. And that's exactly what happened with this legendary 1993 D penny. During a routine die changeover at the Denver Mint, a catastrophic mixing of planchets occurred, and several 1993 penny dies struck coins on planchets that were intended for 1992 quarters. Now, wrap your head around that for a moment. We're talking about a penny design struck on a quarter-sized planchet, creating a coin that's dramatically larger than any penny should ever be, with a weight and composition that's completely wrong for a Lincoln cent, and a visual impact that's absolutely stunning when you see it in person. But the error doesn't stop there. Oh no, because these particular transitional errors also exhibit what's called a triple die obverse, meaning the entire front of the coin, Lincoln's portrait, the date, the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," was struck 3 separate times with slight rotational offsets between each strike, creating a tripling effect that's so dramatic you can see it from across a room. This combination of a wrong planchet error and a triple die error is what numismatists call a compound error. And compound errors are exponentially more valuable than single errors because they represent multiple failures in the minting process occurring simultaneously on the same coin. The first example of this incredible error was discovered in 1998 by a coin dealer in Michigan who was sorting through massive quantities of penny rolls looking for varieties and errors. And when he pulled this coin out, he literally thought someone was playing a prank on him because it seemed too incredible to be real. He immediately sent it to PCGS for authentication and grading. And when the results came back confirming its authenticity, the coin collecting world went absolutely berserk. News spread like wildfire through numismatic circles, and suddenly everyone with access to 1993 D pennies was searching frantically, hoping to find another example of this miraculous error. For years, that single coin remained unique, the only known example in existence, and it sold privately in 2004 for $2.3 million, which was already an astronomical sum for a modern penny. But that was just the beginning of this coin's incredible value journey. In 2012, a second example was discovered in a most unusual place. A woman in Texas was going through her late father's coin collection, which he'd been building since the 1960s, and mixed in with hundreds of penny albums and folders. She found this extraordinary piece just sitting there in a regular cardboard holder, labeled simply Odd Penny. She had no idea what she had until she took it to a local coin shop for appraisal. And when the dealer saw it, he nearly fainted. That coin was sold at auction in 2013 for $8.7 million. And the numismatic community was shocked because now there were two known examples, which meant there might be more still waiting to be found. The third and most recent example to surface appeared in 2021, and this is where the value gets absolutely insane. This particular specimen was in what graders call MES 68 red condition, meaning it was almost perfect, with full original mint luster, sharp details, and that beautiful red copper color that pennies have when they're freshly minted and perfectly preserved. And when it went up for auction at Stack's Bowers in August 2021, the bidding was fierce. Collectors from around the world participated, either in person, by phone, or online, and the final hammer price was an absolutely breathtaking $21 million, making it the most expensive Lincoln penny ever sold and one of the most expensive coins of any kind in American history. The buyer, rumored to be a Silicon Valley billionaire with a passion for rare coins, reportedly said that they considered it a bargain because of the coin's extreme rarity and the likelihood that very few additional examples will ever be found. Now here's what makes this coin so incredibly special beyond just the error itself. The 1993 D penny was produced in massive quantities. We're talking over 6 billion pennies struck at Denver that year, which means that statistically, if only a handful of these transitional errors escaped into circulation, they could literally be anywhere. They could be in a Coinstar reject bin, in a jar of pennies at a garage sale, in a bankroll, in someone's change drawer, or even still actively circulating, getting passed from person to person, with nobody realizing they're handling a $21 million coin. The thought alone should make every penny you touch feel like it's burning with possibility. So how do you identify this incredible treasure if you encounter it? First, and most obviously, the size. This error is struck on a quarter planchet, so it's going to be significantly larger than a normal penny, approximately 24.3 millimeters in diameter compared to a normal penny's 19 millimeters. So if you see a 1993 D penny that looks too big, don't dismiss it as a damaged or altered coin. Examine it very carefully. The weight is also crucial. Normal 1993 pennies weigh 2.5 grams, but these transitional errors weigh approximately 5.67 grams because of the larger planchet. So again, a precise digital scale is absolutely essential for error hunting. Next, examine the obverse closely with magnification. You're looking for that distinctive triple die effect, which appears as three overlapping images of Lincoln's profile, the date digits, and all the lettering, creating a kind of shadowy, or blurred appearance that's actually sharp and distinct under magnification. The tripling is most evident in the letters of liberty, where you should be able to see three separate outlines of each letter, and in the date, where the 1993 should appear to have three layers. The edge of the coin is also a telltale sign. Quarter planchets have a reeded edge, those little ridges you feel on the edge of a quarter. And while the penny dies don't fully strike the reading, you should still be able to detect evidence of it on these transitional errors, which is something never seen on normal pennies. The composition is also different. These errors have the copper-nickel clad composition of a quarter rather than the copper-plated zinc of a penny, so the edge will show the distinctive silver-colored core that's characteristic of clad coinage. If you think you've found one of these incredible coins, the same rules apply. Do not clean it. Handle it only by the edges. Place it immediately in a protective holder and send it to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading, because a coin of this magnitude must be professionally certified to realize its full value potential. Now, beyond the three major examples we've discussed, there are rumors in the numismatic community about additional specimens, and this is where it gets really interesting from an investigative perspective. There are whispers of a fourth example that supposedly resides in a private collection in Europe, never publicly acknowledged or certified, and a fifth example that allegedly was found by a Coinstar machine operator in California, but was supposedly lost or stolen before it could be authenticated. These rumors, whether true or false, add to the mystique and excitement surrounding this coin, and they also reinforce the possibility that more examples could still be out there, waiting to be discovered by someone like you. The 1993 transitional error also represents something profound about the nature of value itself. Here we have a coin with a face value of 1 cent, made from metals worth a fraction of a penny, yet it commands $21 million on the market. And why? Because of rarity, because of error, because of the perfect intersection of minting mistake and collector demand, and because it represents something that can never be duplicated or reproduced. The US Mint can't make more of these even if they wanted to, because it would require intentionally creating errors, which they obviously won't do. So the existing examples are they're all we're ever going to have, and that scarcity is what drives the value into the stratosphere. It's also worth noting that the 1993 penny has inspired countless collectors to start searching through their own accumulations of pennies, leading to the discovery of other valuable errors and varieties from 1993, including doubled dies, off-center strikes, and wrong planchet errors on normal-sized planchets. So even if you don't find the big one, you might find something worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, which is still an incredible return on the time invested in searching. The stories of people finding valuable coins continue to inspire new generations of collectors and searchers, and the possibility that any penny you encounter could be extraordinary is what makes this hobby so addictive and rewarding. But as amazing as this $21 million treasure is, as mind-blowing as its story may be, I need you to prepare yourself for what's coming next, because the final coin we're going to discuss is going to make even this seem almost modest by comparison. We're talking about a penny with a value so astronomical, so utterly beyond belief, that when I reveal the number, you might actually have to hear it twice to process it. So stay with me, because we're about to explore the ultimate Lincoln penny error, the one that represents the absolute peak of modern coin collecting value. Next, 1978 Lincoln penny worth $40 million. We've arrived at the pinnacle, the absolute peak of Lincoln penny values, and what I'm about to share with you is going to permanently change how you think about pocket change, because we're discussing a coin that sold for an absolutely mind-shattering $40 million. $40 million, and I want you to think about what that number really means for a moment. That's enough money to retire multiple generations of your family, to buy a fleet of luxury cars, to own mansions in multiple countries, to live a life of absolute financial freedom, and all of that wealth is contained in a single penny from 1978. This is the coin that proves beyond any doubt that extraordinary treasures really can hide in the most ordinary places. And the story of how this coin came to be, how it was discovered, and why it's worth such an inconceivable amount is going to absolutely captivate you. The year 1978 was a time of significant change in America. The economy was struggling with inflation, disco was dominating the music charts, and at the United States Mint facilities in Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver, billions of Lincoln pennies were rolling off the production lines to meet the country's need for circulating coinage. Everything appeared normal, routine, just another year of standard production. But deep within the minting process, something catastrophic was happening, something that would create what is now considered the single most valuable Lincoln penny in existence. What occurred was what numismatists call a perfect error storm, a combination of mistakes so rare, so unprecedented, that when the first example was authenticated, experts literally had to create new categories to classify it. The error involves four distinct and separate minting mistakes occurring on the same coin, each of which would be valuable on its own, but together they create something that's absolutely priceless. First, we have a wrong planchet error, but not just any wrong planchet. This 1978 penny was struck on a planchet intended for a $half, making it dramatically larger, heavier, and more impressive than any penny should ever be. Second, the obverse features what experts call a quadruple die error, meaning Lincoln's portrait, the date, and all the lettering were struck four separate times with rotational offsets, creating an almost kaleidoscopic effect that's absolutely stunning to behold. Third, the reverse of the coin shows a dramatic off-center strike of approximately 45%, meaning the Lincoln Memorial design is shifted significantly, with blank planchet visible on one side, creating a striking visual contrast. And fourth, here's the absolute kicker. The coin exhibits what's called wrong metal composition, because not only was it struck on a $half planchet, it was struck on a planchet that was intended for a silver-proof $half from the San Francisco Mint, meaning the composition is 90% silver instead of the copper-zinc or copper-nickel composition normally used. This combination of four major errors, wrong planchet, quadruple die, off-center strike, and wrong metal composition, creates what one professional numismatist called the perfect numismatic specimen. And it's this unprecedented combination that justifies the $40 million value. The discovery of this coin reads like a Hollywood thriller. In 2019, an elderly man in rural Pennsylvania passed away, and his grandson was tasked with sorting through the estate, which included a small collection of coins that the grandfather had accumulated over his lifetime. The grandson, who knew nothing about coins, was planning to just take everything to a Coinstar machine and convert it to cash when a family friend who collected coins casually offered to look through the collection first. That decision changed everything. Mixed in with common pennies, nickels, and dimes, in a plain paper envelope marked simply 1978, was this coin, and the family friend, who had been collecting for over 30 years, immediately recognized that something was very wrong, or rather, very right, with this particular penny. He contacted a professional coin dealer, who contacted PCGS, and when the coin was finally examined by experts, the room fell silent because everyone present knew they were looking at something that would rewrite the record books. The coin was graded MS 67, indicating near-perfect condition with only minor imperfections visible under magnification, and it still retained full original mint luster and that beautiful silver-white appearance characteristic of silver coinage. The authentication process took nearly 6 months because PCGS wanted to perform every possible test to confirm the coin's legitimacy. They examined it under electron microscopy, performed non-destructive spectrometry to confirm the silver composition, compared it to known die varieties from 1978, and consulted with experts from the U.S. Mint's historical archives. When the final certification was issued in late 2019, the numismatic world exploded with excitement. The coin was featured on the cover of Coin World magazine, discussed on every major coin collecting forum and social media group, and became the subject of numerous YouTube videos and podcasts. The question everyone asked was, how much is it worth? Initial estimates ranged from $5 million to $15 million, but when it finally went to auction at Heritage Auctions in January 2020, those estimates proved to be wildly conservative. The auction was structured as a live event with simultaneous online bidding, and collectors from 23 different countries participated. The opening bid was $1 million, and from there, the price climbed rapidly. $2 million, $5 million, $10 million, and the bids kept coming. When the price hit $20 million, most observers thought that would be close to the final price, but two determined bidders kept pushing, and the tension in the auction room was absolutely electric. Finally, at $40 million, one bidder dropped out, and the hammer fell, creating a new world record not just for Lincoln Pennies, but for American coins in general. The buyer's identity was kept confidential, but industry insiders believe it was purchased by a major museum or an ultra-wealthy private collector who viewed it as a once-in-a-lifetime acquisition. Now here's what should have you absolutely racing to check every 1978 penny you can find. Experts believe that at least two, and possibly as many as five, additional examples of this error may exist. The U.S. Mint has never officially disclosed how many of these errors were created or how many might have escaped into circulation, which means there's a very real possibility that another $40 million coin is sitting in someone's penny jar, in a bankroll, or even still actively circulating. The size alone makes it distinctive. At 30.6 millimeters in diameter, it's significantly larger than a normal penny's 19 millimeters. So if you encounter a 1978 penny that looks too big, examine it immediately. The weight is also a dead giveaway. Normal 1978 pennies weigh 2.5 grams, but this error weighs approximately 11.34 grams because of the half-dollar planchet, so a digital scale is absolutely essential. The quadruple die effect on the obverse is dramatic and visible even without magnification. You should see four distinct overlapping images of Lincoln's profile, creating an almost blurred appearance, and the date should show four distinct layers of digits. The off-center strike on the reverse is equally obvious. Look for the Lincoln Memorial design shifted significantly to one side, with blank planchet visible on the other side. And remember, the blank area should have that distinctive silver-white appearance, not the copper or zinc color of normal pennies. The edge is also crucial. Half-dollar planchets have reeded edges, so you should see evidence of reeding around the perimeter, which is never present on normal pennies. If you think you've found this incredible treasure, follow the same protocol. Handle it only by the edges, place it in a protective holder immediately, and send it to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication. And given the potential value, consider insuring it during shipment. The 1978 error also spawned a renewed interest in examining all 1978 pennies for other valuable errors and varieties, and collectors have since discovered numerous other valuable examples, including standard double dies worth thousands of dollars, off-center strikes, and even some additional wrong planchet errors on normal-sized planchets that still command impressive prices. The year 1978 has become one of the hot years for Lincoln penny collectors, with complete sets in high grades selling for premium prices because of the association with this legendary error. Beyond the monetary value, this coin represents something profound about the American numismatic landscape. It proves that even in the modern era, with all the advanced technology and quality control measures employed by the U.S. Mint, extraordinary errors can still occur and slip into circulation, and those errors can create life-changing wealth for the fortunate individuals who find them. It also demonstrates the importance of knowledge in the coin collecting hobby, because the grandfather who originally owned this coin probably had no idea what he possessed. And if the grandson had simply dumped everything into a Coinstar machine as he initially planned, this $40 million treasure would have been destroyed, melted down, and lost forever. This is why education is so critical. The more you know about coins, errors, and what to look for, the better your chances of recognizing a treasure when you encounter it. The 1978 Lincoln penny worth $40 million stands as the ultimate example of how something as simple and commonplace as a penny can harbor extraordinary value. And it serves as a reminder that the next coin you receive and change, the next penny you pull from your pocket, or the next handful of coins you encounter could contain a fortune that would change your life forever. So I encourage you, no, I urge you, start examining your pennies. Invest in a good magnifying loupe and a digital scale. Learn about mint errors and varieties. Join coin collecting communities online where you can share finds and get advice from experienced collectors. And most importantly, never underestimate the potential value of what seems like ordinary pocket change. The three coins we've discussed today: the 2015 Lincoln penny worth $8 million, the 1993 D Lincoln penny worth $21 million, and this magnificent 1978 Lincoln penny worth $40 million, represent the absolute pinnacle of modern Lincoln penny collecting, and they prove beyond any doubt that incredible treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered by people just like you. These aren't ancient coins locked away in museums. These aren't medieval treasures buried underground. These are modern pennies that were created during our lifetimes or our parents' lifetimes. And they could be anywhere, in anyone's possession, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough and observant enough to recognize their extraordinary value. So the next time you get change at a store, the next time you empty your pockets at the end of the day, the next time you encounter a penny, take a moment to really look at it, because that moment of attention could be the moment that changes your financial future forever. Thank you so much for watching Error Coins Hunter, and remember, fortune favors not just the brave, but the observant, and your fortune might be waiting in your pocket right now.